Hey guys, this is video 5 in our series of 6 videos on how to complete your research workshop in business communication. And we finally got to the thing that you most likely do when you want information. You probably go to your computer, open your browser, and type into the search bar whatever it is you're looking for. And Bing or Google shows you a list of sources, a list of results. What I'd like you to do today is think a little about the fact that every source you find through Google or Bing, somebody had to sit down and create it. Somebody has to pay for the website, for the way it looks, for its place on the web. And who made it and how they made it and how much money was spent on it and who spent the money all influences how much you can trust that information, not always in easy ways. So what I want you to do is Google one of your questions and just see what comes up. Now, a few hints. First of all, we've had lots of conversations about Wikipedia. Wikipedia is not a suitable source in college because many teachers will not accept Wikipedia because they don't know who put the information up there, how long it's been up there, whether or not it's all going to change tomorrow. And you don't know either unless you go back and check Wikipedia again. If you do use Wikipedia, you can scroll to the bottom. There's usually a list of links, and those links are often to reputable sources that don't change every couple of days, so that you know if somebody else goes to that source, they're going to see what you saw. And that's not the case with Wikipedia. The other thing that I often see is that students take the top hit or one of the top 3 hits and use that as credible information because some people believe like if Google puts it at the top, it must be good. Google's not a person. Google is an algorithm. It is computer figuring out according to a set of computer criteria what goes near the top, and it has nothing at all to do with the quality of information and everything to do with the number of times that information has been repeated and the number of links to that information. Now, the way the human brain works, the more often we hear something, the more we become likely to just believe that it's true, even if when we stop and think about it, we think it's not true. So any of the things where you'd say, well, everybody just knows that, and there are lots of them, like, how do you know how to turn on the hot water instead of the cold water? You probably go, oh, everybody knows that. Does everybody know that? No, it changes from one place to another. But if somebody said the left hand always is for the hot water because that's what it's like most places in Toronto, you'd probably believe them. And you'd believe them because you're in Toronto, and if you went into a bathroom in your house in a public place, the hot water would likely be on the left, and you go, oh yeah, that checks out, that's true. It's not true. It just seems true. So when you pick the top hit on Google, you're actually picking the most popular hit. Sometimes if it says sponsored on it, you're picking a hit that has paid for you to find it because the owners of that link have some financial or personal stake in having you look at their site. So even when we discount that, you're going to get a lot of hits on Google that are sort of reliable. So if we pick an example like how to get along with my teammates, there are going to be hundreds of thousands of articles written on how to get along with my teammates. And sometimes people aren't even really basing it on their own experience. They're just basing it on what they would call common sense. Oh yeah, it sounds good. You should probably try this. And when you read it, because it's kind of common sense, you'll go, oh yeah, it sounds good. But that doesn't mean it will check out in real life. It doesn't mean you should base your own reputation, the respect that people are going to give your opinions on that site. So I want you to go through and I want you to ask questions. Click through to the site, not to a Google link, not to a Google image. The pictures you see on the search page of Google Images, they're not made by Google. You have to go and find out who made this picture and put it on the web. The same thing is true for information. If there's information on the web, it's not good enough to read the little blurb. You have to click all the way through, look at the site, and say, who paid for this? How do they benefit from me visiting this site? Does this site say protein supplements are really good, but the company who made it sells protein supplements? Because then I'm going to be a little doubtful, a little sure that the information they've gathered, while it's true, might not be the whole of the story. Is it written by somebody who's well-meaning but just trying to build their business? I am a business coach, and so I write articles on how people should get along with their teams and leadership so that people will come and pay me to coach them in that. Great. That might make me an expert, or it might not. How are you going to figure it out? How are you going to figure out if I'm just recycling stuff I read on the web, which is a problem? Or whether I hired somebody in another country to write the article, and I'm not 100% convinced of it even myself. I'm just using it to get you to click, to get you to make a phone call, to get you to connect with me, because that happens on the internet. I want you to try and think of reasons why you should trust the source you found. Not just say, hey, it has what I expected, it has what I'm looking for, it must be right. Because often things that we think are right are not true. Even when we're really, really sure we're right, sometimes we're only partly right. It's important not just to convince yourself more of what you already believe with your research, but to look for, are there honest, good reasons, aside from what it says, for me to trust this source. That's how you start making reasonable decisions about what information you should be trusting, you should be staking your reputation and your work on. Go find some Google sources. Ask yourself questions about who made them, why they were made, and whether or not you should trust them. And then come back and we'll wrap this up.